It's always been very important to me that when you are in any type of crisis, whether it's an illness, whether it's homelessness, you need to have a place that does not create any additional stress for you. Environment is everything. If you are living in a bad environment, it is going to have a negative effect on your psyche. Just from a personal point of view, I've always said, if I wouldn't have my family stay someplace, I'm certainly not going to have someone else stay. So I've always approached this as, if I ever had to be in a shelter, where would I want to be where I felt comfortable, but more importantly, where my children felt comfortable and safe and protected.
My name is Bakima McFarland. I'm 27 years old. I have 2 children, a son who is 8, Nasir Washington, my daughter who is 2, Peyton McFarland. We are originally from Brooklyn, New York, Sheepshead Bay Nostrum Houses.
My name is Aisha Million. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, and I have 3 beautiful children, Morgan Million, Tristan Million, and Logan Million.
My name is Lisa Smith. I'm from Orange. I have a whole history background because I wasn't born in Orange or anything, but my family's from Barbados. I was raised in Germany, so I'm an Army brat.
I met Chris McLeod, who's executive director here somewhere in the early 2000s, because the church I'm a part of and have been a part of for years worships in Trinity and St. Philip's, downtown Newark. Well, we were worshiping there when Chris was on staff there as a deacon. And so we were always saying hi, always engaged in programs. Sometimes we would join them when they did their Absalom Jones service, which is a big celebration of the African American history in the Episcopal Church. So we had always gotten close and close and closer. And then for about a year, I was the parish administrator for Trinity and St. Philip's while Chris was still the deacon.
She's so passionate about the shelter and about providing shelter for families who are in need. I mean, she's so passionate about it. And if you love Chris, you're going to love what she cares about. And that was how the church got involved, because she established friendships and relationships among church members. She kept the issue right before us. And once you get to know people who are involved with a particular issue, and we began to meet the families and some of the individuals who were sheltered here and who are working here, you naturally just become part of their family, and you want to become more involved and to help out where we can.
I feel that, being able to give back to the community, what Chris has been able to do with the agency is just amazing.
Chris McLeod is a true visionary leader. She's a person who is compelling, she knows what she's talking about, and she believes in what's possible. She knows that there will be obstacles, but she is not afraid, and she's energized to overcome them. It's a combination of things that makes her extremely appealing to work with. It also makes her someone that you feel proud to be associated with.
Oh, Miss Christine McLeod. She is the most caring and helping lady that I ever met, because she didn't have to hire me. But she told me herself she seen something in me.
Chris McLeod, she's such a magnetic personality and such commitment to the work that she does.
I have been a magnet for homeless people since I was 17. Whatever reason, homeless people have always been attracted to me. And so my transformation in terms of dealing with people who were homeless or who were what we would call outcasts started on a subway in New York City. I went in the Air Force, and after I finished my time in the Air Force, I got out and I was looking for a job. My cousin also worked in New York and worked in the not-for-profit arena and suggested I try to apply for a job at a place called the Village Nursing Home. And I started work as an administrative assistant in the HIV and AIDS program office, and it went from there. Having worked in special needs housing for so long in New York, understanding the shelter systems in the tri-state area, I have a real concern with what they call congregate housing, which is your warehouse type of housing where you have open spaces with just beds. That does work for a certain population and for certain for particular purposes. But when you put children in the mix, it is a horrible, horrible scenario for them. It is very scary. And so I've always aspired to help support people in their homelessness with dignity and respect. And by doing that, the first thing that you do is create an environment that shows that they are respected.
This is our unit. The bathroom is over here. And this is my room, the kitchen. We all share the kitchen and the bathroom. For the most part, everybody's, doing their job as part of keeping the house being closed. That wasn't needed to.
It's sad to say that a lot of people who are working to shelter the homeless are just warehousing human beings. And for this organization and for Deacon Chris, that's not enough. You need to provide a future, and a future has to be built on something. It can't just be created out of nothing. And the something can be everything from a clean space to live in to being given new skills, being given new possibilities.
When they send people here, they know that they're going to be cared for. There's not a question of whether it's clean. There's not a question of whether what needs to be done financially, spiritually. All of those things are here.
The reality is that our vision makes it possible to say what we need is more, and to provide more for people so that they can have hope in their future. It's a stop on the way to being home. It's not a full stop. It's not the end. It's a place to begin again.
It was really important for me to join this purpose. I'm a domestic violence survivor, and I use the word survivor. You have victims and you have survivors, and survivors is really when you've come to a new place in your life and see all the things that are ahead of you that you didn't see before that. So when I thought about the women that come through the agency, some are, victims of domestic violence, and to be able to tell them that there's another place at the end. It doesn't matter what happens in the past. This is the step now forward.
It's unique because they don't have to leave out in the morning. Mostly shelters, they have to leave out 8 o'clock in the morning and don't, can't come back until 4. Here, they don't have to leave. They can stay here all day.
The turning point is important to me because it's about helping people, and this building is like helping people and families, and that's like the type of, right down the line of work that I like to do, help people. So.
We can accommodate, on an average month, we accommodate anywhere between 19 to 20 families here.
We have a 23 suite facility. There are 8 apartments in the building, and between the 8 of them, there are 24 private rooms where each of the family has their own room. They share a day room, they share a bathroom, and they share a common kitchen in each of the facilities that has a refrigerator and a microwave. So kind of breakfast can be done in their own space. But down on the main area, there's the main community kitchen where the ovens are and where people come to generally make their dinners.
But what's really important is that this shelter in particular helps prepare people for the next stage. It provides GED, it provides social services, it provides counseling, drug and alcohol referrals and counseling. There's so many different support needs for any family that finds themselves in some kind of homeless situation.
They're already going through a lot of stuff. They're homeless, so we have to, make them feel at home here. Because they don't have nobody else, and we here for them. So we just here to help them, make them feel comfortable here. And sometimes they come in, some of them don't have nothing to eat. We go shopping for them. Some of them don't have no clothes. We get them clothes. We just help them.
And I wonder sometimes why I'm here. It's as big as the part of me that's a pastor that feels like I'm here to help people experiencing homelessness, here to counsel women sometimes who are really struggling because the experience of homelessness brings up the rejection and family disconnect and some of the other stuff they struggle with. But sometimes I realize I'm here because little brown boys who are fatherless need to be able to come home from school and look through my glass door and go, Mr. Kevin, and run in to share that they got an A on a test.
Homelessness is a problem, but the way that homelessness is normally addressed is just by giving people a roof over their heads. And in most cases, that's not enough. It's not nearly enough. The problems that lead to homelessness have to be addressed, and that is where Turning Point is different. They look at it holistically, and whether you're here because you lost your valuables in a fire, or if you're here because there is an addiction problem or an abuse problem, Turning Point looks at getting you the services that you need, not only just to survive when you leave here, but to thrive.
You know, all of the clients that we serve are at a turning point in their life. And we wanted something that helped them remind them that you are at a turning point, you're not at an end. And so we felt that Turning Point was an appropriate name, and it sort of aided in the mission of what we were trying to do with the people that we serve.
How I ended up at Turning Point. Like I told you, I'm originally from Brooklyn. Brooklyn is not a good place for me. From house hopping, from family to friends, not being situated. I lost my son's father in 2010, and from there everything spiraled down. I came to New Jersey basically because I wanted a better living for me, a better living for my children, a better environment.
I came to be a part of the Turning Point family because I relocated from my original hometown, Cleveland, Ohio. However, things didn't go like I planned, so it left me on hard times.
My first time that I was here at Turning Point, my youngest, which is now 4 years old, was actually an infant. I was evicted from my apartment. My income didn't suffice, and I did not know how to manage my income.
I think that there's a way to be mothering, be nurturing, be supportive, while at the same time being honest and being clear, presenting their reality in their reality. We want our clients to dream, but we also need our clients to live and face the reality that they are living right now. There's a reason for their homelessness. There's not an accusation, but there's a reason. What do we need to do to address the causes of your homelessness? Not your roommates. What is the cause of your homelessness? While I do try to be nurturing and supportive, I also have to keep them on point to understand that you can live and wallow in, you want to be a victim, you can choose to do that. The bottom line is, living and wallowing in that is not going to get you out of this shelter or any other shelter. You have to deal and address the issues that are creating barriers for you.
My daughter would ask me every day, Mommy, how long are we going to be in the shelter? What is the shelter? You understand? Why do we have to come in and can't have company and stuff like that? I explained to her the best way I can, and I told her, don't worry. Hopefully by the end of this year, Mommy's going to make it better for you.
At times it was a little emotional because children, you know, they don't know. They just do and go with the flow of the parents. It was times that there were questions and there were statements of children asking things from school. So, you know, they came home a lot of times with a lot of questions of, you know, when are we going to have a home and why don't we have a home? And as a single mom, you know, it could take a whole toll on your heart. However, with the staff, they also found role models and people that they can talk to. On those times when they didn't understand or I couldn't find the words to explain to them, I had a great support system in the Turning Point staff, where maybe those were the times that they could help me express myself or even express everything that I was thinking. So despite the fact it was a hard situation.
A month, maybe 2 months after my son's father got murdered, his parents took my son from me. Every day I woke up, I left out the shelter no later than 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, dressed like I was going to a job interview. But that was just for me to feel comfortable, confident, and to go out and look for these apartments. That first apartment went down the hill, I prayed. And I asked for forgiveness for everything that I did in my life wrong. I explained to God that I just wanted better. I needed better to prove to myself, to prove to others, to prove to him. I found my apartment. November 1st, 2016, I moved in. I have a 3-bedroom right now. It's just me and my daughter. I'm still in the process of fighting for my son because his grandmother doesn't make it easy for me. But every day I get up and I just pray because I know what I want down the line.
They've not always had someone to provide a structure for them, to be supportive yet hold them accountable at the same time. And I think that if you're going to do this work, you have to be able to provide that balance for the people that you're serving.
Problems that families are facing now, a shelter like this is even more important than it's ever been because so many people are struggling. The rents are getting higher, the cost of living is getting higher.
You know, there's a lot of people out here that need help. You know, this could be me. I could be in this situation. I could be homeless.
Turning Point has made a real impact on the community because now people know what it can really look like to give to the community of people experiencing homelessness. It's not just kind of cattle calling people in and putting them in a room, kicking them out in the morning, and they can't come back until a certain time in the evening.
What drew me to Turning Point is a vision that is expansive. A place for people to live is not just shelter. It's a place of restoration, a place of hope, a place of peace that enables them to rest and restore themselves and then go out and make something of their lives.
I got myself grounded, especially coming from a new city and being in a new situation, period. I was in Turning Point for about 7 months, and then I went and got my own place and so forth. So despite the fact of the downtimes from relocating, especially being a single mother with 3 children, Turning Point made that process just a little bit more easier.
Initially when I came in, I was more dealing with my separation. So I came in angry. That was the first part. So I was dealing with that initially. So I didn't try and look to see what opportunities or options, other options I had. The second time around, the staff once again was very receiving, very helpful, very loving and kind. So it made it as though it was like a family situation for us. So we were not in a sense comfortable, but we were assured that everything would be okay.
It's just so important how when I talk to people about, yeah, I'm a part of a board of a homeless shelter, and you see their face and you don't, you know that you need to take it a step further and explain that Turning Point is this beautiful, safe home. Yeah, you get the stigma, oh, where is it? Oh, it's in Irvington. And, it's really something that they have to see to believe in, and then being able to spread that message and then being part of this huge accomplishment that the agency did in actually investing in itself and being able to purchase the building.
When we first started, we started on Chancellor Avenue on the other side of Irvington. We had started with the gentleman who owned the building. It was a rather large building, but it was completely full when we first opened. We took our first client in February of 2002, and I think we had about 96 families in total, which equal to over 150 or 60 people cumulatively in the building. After our first year of service, the owners of the building wanted to review our agreement together. And in the review of their agreement, they realized that they were making money, and they wanted to make more money.
The landlord was trying to present himself as losing money on this deal, as being charitable to this cause, when in fact, as it turned out, he was gouging and getting a lot more rent than he should have been getting, and the services that he was providing in terms of the repairs that he was supposed to provide did not occur unless Chris was really fighting, and she's formidable when she's fighting for something.
They came up with a ridiculous sort of ratio of percentage of how much they wanted based on the billing, with no understanding of what it took to run a program. They weren't interested in the program, they were simply interested in the money that they could generate.
So she had to fight for even the most basic things like the repairs, utilities, the heat. When the heat would go out, it's an old building, and it was the utilities were breaking down, and he may or may not have gotten them repaired in a timely fashion. When you've got families, you've got small children, you've got to make those repairs very quick, and he was not right on it.
So at that point, it was clear to me that this was not a partnership that was going to last. I was mission focused, they were money focused, and so what I did is I went to the Township of Irvington and I asked for their assistance in locating either a landlord who possibly had a building or a building that they knew was available that possibly we could rent at the time. And at that time, the housing person in Irvington, Tony Bennett, directed us to a local landlord who had this building here available.
So I think what sets this place apart for many people is how well it is maintained and how beautiful it is. It's not just a building. It is freshly painted, it's clean, it's calm, and it's orderly. And then, that's not enough. So in this case, the organization sought to purchase the building, end a high rent situation, and make a commitment in an asset to providing people with a safe and secure and clean and restored building.
What it did provide for us was an opportunity to have a standalone building just for us. He was willing to put forth the money up front to take care of all of the infrastructure needs that needed to happen. So that's how we ended up at this location where we've been now for the last 14 years.
And on top of that, the organization sought and received grants that enabled us to renovate all of the units for our clients and to make it an even safer and more beautiful place to live.
Purchasing this building was one of the greatest things that this agency was able to do. I never thought that we had the capacity to purchase this building. The owner kept throwing out a number that just wasn't realistic or attainable for us. And circumstances, God got jokes, and God makes a way. And God made a way for this building to become attainable to us. Just when you think that you've done all that you can do, if you're really focused on the needs of the people, they speak to you directly. You can see what the gaps are.
It's that simple. It's that fact that a mother can come and say, my stamps didn't come through this month, or they're late, and it's Friday and we won't get them until Monday. My kids won't have anything to eat over the weekend, and to know that I'm a part of an agency that will go to the supermarket, not go to some pantry because we have, but go to the supermarket and consider that family and pull food off the shelf. I think that it rehumanizes some people who really thought that people didn't care, because when you get into the bureaucracy of homelessness and welfare and having to go down and apply, and it's nice after all of that, because sometimes, there is decency and right order, but it's nice after all of that to land in a place where somebody knows your name, speaks to you by name, speaks to your children. And while your children might be an irritation to you at times, they aren't to the staff.
Turning Point is a community that's going to embrace you with everything that you have. The negative attitude, the flaws, the anger, the loneliness. They're just going to open their arms to you like a child of their own. They make it comfortable, loving, stability, everything that a child needs with their mother. I'm trying not to cry.
We had a pre-GED program because we realized that so many of our clients were taking these GED courses, but they still weren't passing the GED test, and we kept saying, well, why is this? You've taken, and we realized that people weren't really taking the time to test them to see where they were at. You can't just take a GED class if you're on a 3rd or 4th grade reading level. So what we did is that we took the time, we took a group of women who were having difficulties passing the GED. We helped with the basics. We helped with basic reading. We helped with basic math. We helped with history. We helped to get them into a mindset of understanding that you actually can do this. You just need to bring your skill set up a little bit. And through some intentionality, I think we took 6 or 7 clients initially through, and of the 7 who participated, 6 of them passed the GED test on the first try. So we knew that it didn't require a lot of money. It did require a lot of our time. We didn't have the capacity to hire a teacher to come in, and so I taught classes, other people taught classes, but the women were committed to doing the work because they realized that we were committed to them. And so they had vocabulary, words that they did, they studied together, they put the effort forward. And part of helping people to move is that when they realize that someone is committed to them, they actually find a way to become committed to themselves. They don't feel as if they are the other, that they are actually part of this process, and it worked well for them.
So the commitment that they showed me and gave to me, I also gave back in return. So I was able to feel more empowered and say, well, I have gifts, I have talents, and they're seeing it in me, and they're giving me a chance to pull out whatever gifts and talents I have.
I remember we were talking about different things that we could do. I have always loved self-sufficiency. And so again, when we talk about what you bring to people who are homeless, that self-sufficiency is so important, not only just for a means of living, but empowering people and letting them know that they can stand on their own 2 feet and they can be successful.
Sometimes we have decided to do something because one client showed a skill or showed a desire, mostly had a desire to try to do something.
We've expanded the social entrepreneurship capacity of the agency. So we used to do just sewing and jewelry making and a few other things. Now we have gotten into t-shirt making and direct-to-garment printing, working with social groups and churches and small businesses, large businesses, foundations.
Yeah, the special programs that we have at Turning Point, the sewing program, the cooking program. Sewing, they learn the skills, they learn how to sew. Cooking, they learn how to cook.
The Almost Home program started when we started a sewing program. One of our employees has been with us for 13 and a half, 14 years. She was originally one of our clients.
My name is Leila Aldridge. I teach clients how to sew. I've been here almost 14 years.
And when she was a client, she wanted to remain busy. And one of the gifts that she brought was sewing. And so she made curtains and furniture, upholstery coverings for every room in the building that we had. And that was her way of keeping herself busy and contributing.
When I came to Turning Point 14 years ago, I was living with my mother. My mother passed. I had nowhere to go, so I had to go to live with my brother. That was a place where nobody should want to live. So I stayed there with him a month. Then I went to welfare and I asked them to place me in a place where I could focus. They placed me in Agape. Agape it means love, and it was Christian Shelter on Lincoln Place in Irvington, New Jersey. Okay, before I moved to this building, I was also at transitional housing. So I would work over there, make sure the clients did what they had to do. One thing I did do is tell my story to everybody that came in, to let them know that it's okay. You understand? You just got to do what you got to do.
Eventually, she became part of a job training program, and she became an employee. And she's a really good sewer, and it's a passion of hers. And so we were trying to figure out what are other ways that we can engage our clients instead of the normal activities that they're required to attend by welfare, that will engage them in a way that we can capture their attention. And part of capturing their attention is trying to take them away from the same boring, sitting in a room, looking at newspapers, quote unquote, job hunting, and giving them an actual skill. And so we asked Miss Aldridge to take her sewing skills and put them to use to teach other clients how to sew.
Sewing program was something I wasn't sure I wanted to get into initially, but I did like design. So I said, well, why not? Because anything that anybody offers for empowerment or encouragement, support, I was right on board with it. So the sewing program showed me the basics of sewing.
I learned to sew because of my aunt. She used to sew so much, so I wanted to learn, and she taught me at the age of 13. Because it's my passion. It's something I love to do. I love to do it, and I love to share what I've learned. It gives me the ability to teach other people. I had a couple of students, and they were awesome. When I see them sewing like me, I know I'm doing something.
Within about 22 weeks, I learned how to thread a machine. I learned how to make a basic pillow stitch. Even with the different clothing, she showed me how to put those together, how to use a pattern and everything like that.
I was talking to somebody in the office, and I said, I remember a specific time here. I went to prom my senior year. I left from here and everything. I was like, I believe somebody here made my dress. I can't remember what her name is though. And so he said, well, go ahead and ask Miss Hay. I was like, okay. And I said, do you reckon, I told her a picture on my phone. I said, do you recognize this dress? And she was like, she looked at me and I said, did you make this dress? She said, yeah, I made that dress. And I was like, oh my goodness. I almost went to prom. And it was like another relief, like, oh my goodness, don't know. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. I was there for you. It's okay. It's all right. I made that day a great day for you. You know what I mean? And you came back to me and looked and found me again. And then you realized after 2007, I'm still here. And that dress was beautiful. Beautiful. It's all right. Tears of joy. Tears of joy. And I met her through my mother. My mother used to help me in the office. Mary, right? You good. You good. You good. You good. You good.
One or two clients at a time, go out and buy a couple of sewing machines, and voila. Miss Aldridge and the clients made shirts, we made decorative pillowcase covers, we made tablecloths and place settings. Everyone likes t-shirts. Everyone wears t-shirts. Everyone is looking for a new type of t-shirt. And, you know, it's always been sort of in the back of my mind, oh, this is something that I would really like to learn how to do. Well, the process of being a screener, a silk screener for t-shirt is not actually all that simple. It's actually an art. We heard of this new process called direct-to-garment printing that could take any combination of color shirts and print a t-shirt just like you were printing from a laser printer from your computer. And so that really piqued my interest. After some bad experiences of trying to get t-shirts from other people, it just dawned on me, oh, this is actually something that we could teach clients to do. I knew of another program out in California that I had heard of a number of years ago that had started a t-shirt business with formerly incarcerated gang members, Homeboy Industries. And it really said, oh, wow, that is really something that our clients could do, especially women with children. It doesn't require you to be in a place where your kids cannot be around. Less than a year, we actually made more money on the t-shirts than we ever thought that we could possibly make. And so we knew that in terms of making additional income for the agency was viable, but we also knew that it was viable for clients who had artistic talent to see their creations come to life, who also just wanted to learn another skill. This was an opportunity for us to provide another way of training for them while also helping them understand how you build a business, because we were learning how to build a business in this different way. So,
well, when Chris is expanding the program into such things like making jewelry and home, I guess you'd call them cottage industries, it's again the way for people to support themselves, and so that they have a better shot at making their lives work in a different way.
You have the capacity to create your own destiny, and if there's ways that we can just show you how to kind of focus in on that, focus on those skills that you do. Maybe it's baking, maybe it's sewing, maybe it's something, and a lot of the social programs that are now existing with the agency, those skills can become something. And then bringing in people like myself or other members on the board that can show them the way. And that's really what it's about for us.
When you get involved with people's lives, you want the best for them, and you want them to not only succeed but to thrive. You want their creativity stimulated. You want the children that come here, you want them to have the best shot that they can get, the best education, the best creativity. They're surrounded by love, there's no doubt about that.
Being an entrepreneur is so much easier than it's ever been. And you can become an entrepreneur this day and age in almost anything.
Today's entrepreneur is a lot different than the one when you think in the 80s where it was all about these .coms and all this money. It's not. Today's entrepreneur is out of necessity. It's out of, maybe you can't find the right opportunity, you can't find the right job. So then what skill sets do you have, and how do you apply that to help it make it beneficial?
I never realized that I had an entrepreneurial spirit. Part of it comes from the fact that everything can't always be so serious. Part of it comes from the fact that, people need to figure out ways and understand that they actually have the capacity to create something for themselves. Sometimes it might be something just to supplement an income. Many of us have worked 2 jobs. So many of our clients are always struggling for financial security. So they don't always have great skills, but they have many skills that they can utilize to help put them in a different place. So we tell them, okay, so you work a 9-to-5 job, but I see that you like to draw. Well, what can we do about that? Trying to infuse people with an understanding that, a hobby that they have can actually be something that creates additional income for them while they actually enjoy what they're doing. And there's nothing greater than someone believing and trusting in you. And I've often said, I don't need to have people with a long arm sleeve of degrees. I need people who understand what it is that we're doing, who have a commitment to what we're doing.
I think it's far too easy to judge others for what they're doing. I think the blessing and the opportunity is to feel great about what we're doing. People are doing the best that they can. What we choose to do, and this comes from the vision and the leadership of our executive director, Deacon Chris McLeod, that leads to a feeling of, oh, we can do more. So it requires more of the staff and of the people who support Turning Point Community Services, but it also gives us more. It gives us energy, it gives us the feeling of possibility, and it inspires us all to work hard every day to make this vision a reality.
I've always made a commitment to provide opportunities for people who have been in this place before, for a number of reasons. One, who else can better relate to clients in a situation than people who have been there themselves at some point in their life? We're a very small agency, and we're small for a reason. We're small because from my perspective, if you get too big, you tend to move away from the mission you originally were focused on. I really am very, very adamant that we remain focused on what we were called to do, and that is to provide service to homeless, at this point, homeless women and children, but we've provided services to other than just homeless women and children. And you can only do that, in a core sort of group. It doesn't need to be huge to make an impact, and so we purposely have remained small.
with a small board, you're going to find that you have to jump in and pitch in and do all kinds of things. So I've been board secretary, help organize a fundraiser, help with the technology, the original website when Chris was working on it. There was a problem with her email, and so wherever I could pitch in, I did.
Many of our staff still struggled with trying to remain employed for a while, finding places who were willing to invest in them because they didn't have a college degree or they didn't have enough time, enough time in a particular job. They had a passion for doing the work here. And so for me, it was very important to invest in them and to support them, to help them improve and better their work skills, to improve their communication skills, and to improve their sense of self. So for me, you can teach anybody a job, but you can't teach people how to be compassionate. You can't teach people integrity. You can't teach people what it means to give of themselves to other people unless, one, you are constantly modeling it for them, and two, you're doing it for them as well. And so for me, just like the people we serve, the staff who have worked for me, they made an investment in this agency, and so I try to make an investment in them.
I want to say to Chris T. McLeod, thank you for being there for me, giving me the opportunity. I'm eating. Like she told me, when she eat, I eat, and I'm still eating. We go up, we go down, but at the end of the day, we here. We together. And I love her for that, for opening the door. Whatever we go through, Christine McLeod is always there for us, regardless of the situation. And I love her the most for opening the doors up for me, and I'm still here today because of Christine McLeod.
Whenever we would hear about someone honoring Chris or giving Chris the recognition that she so richly deserves, those were things that made me happy, because I knew that I always think of this as the little agency that could.
Chris is the best. She has our back. She's a good person. She's understandable. She's just here for us. She's a wonderful person. That's Chris McLeod, and I love her.
Through God and through Turning Point, like I said, the staff is amazing. And anything that they can do, they will do. So by them helping me and my family with anything you could possibly imagine, it made the process just a little bit easier.
They made it a lot easier, to see my potential, my full potential rather.
I'm in school, going for my CCMA. I have my own apartment that I have for 6 months now. I'm working on getting visitation rights for my son. My daughter is 4 years old, a smart, beautiful little girl, and she's in charter school. Because Turning Point showed me what life is really all about. Not living for people, not partying, not caring what other people think about you. Turning Point showed me to live for Bakima.
Okay. Because of Turning Point, the Million family has gained a great support system as well as overcame the obstacles we were facing at the time. So I thank them for that.
It is incumbent upon me to ensure that we honor and respect and cherish the gift that we have been given to continue to provide the best services we could possibly provide for the people who are sent and entrusted to our care.